Well, good morning, John Henry Soto here. So today we're going to be talking about the not caring what other people think, but in a positive way, not just being mean about it. So stay tuned. 7 a.m. All righty. Well, good morning, everyone. It is 7 a.m. Today it is April 6th, 2021. Wow, we're already in April. Everybody says that every year, right? Whenever we get to April or May. Can't believe we're already in April or May. Every year you hear somebody say that. Like me. I'm the one who says it. But want to thank you all for tuning in. Hope you all had a nice evening and having a blessed morning. Um, this topic is something that gets talked about a lot by different individuals on social media because social media just contains so many toxic people that just sit there all day waiting for something negative to say about somebody's viewpoint or whatever, thinking in their twisted minds that they're actually doing some good. They think that by them trying to destroy the other person's viewpoint, right to think, that they're actually saving the world from their little home, eating their ho hos and donuts, and thinking that they're actually handling things. So that becomes a little frustrating for people that are like myself, highly opinionated about things, and I have a family that I'm passionate to get to a better place, another level, a career that I'm working on, these shows that I'm doing, all these different. I'm working on a film which is almost done. I'm really excited about that, and starting another one to edit it. It's already been shot, but just editing. Um, and I have a lot of things. So I like to communicate things that are really in my heart, and I don't go around reading other people's posts and feeling like I have to put in my 2 cents on their opinion, whether I agree with it or not. It's just not something that I do. I think they have the right to communicate what they want to communicate. And if I look at it and I go, oh my God, I definitely don't agree with that, I just move on, right? I mean, I'm not going to just be like, well, do you like this? And because you think, what are you, like a racist or something? You don't like people? Is that what it is? Whatever it is that goes through their twisted, pathetic minds, um, is is pretty sad in my opinion. So I read them. I read their little comments, and sometimes I respond if I have time. I don't really have too much value to them, but if I have time, I answer. If I don't, I just keep going on to my next part of life. But I read this article, and it's not necessarily an article. It was something I saw on Inc.com that I thought was was relevant, and I said, "Oh, you know what? I think I'll do a show on this." Um, and there's 7 reasons to stop caring what other people think. And you hear a lot of, I think the one I've heard the most probably talk about this is Gary Vaynerchuk, better known as Gary V. If you don't know his content, check him out. And if you're sensitive to cursing, then don't check him out. But if you don't care, that's fine. He does curse a lot, but the content is really relevant, and I think it's really good. Certain things that I know about caring what other people think is is one of those, it's peer pressure, right? I think people, keeping up with the Joneses, right? All these different things that you experience growing up, or in your 20s or 30s, trying to chase that thing that it's apparently supposed to be what it is, right? As you're chasing the getting married, having kids, buying a house, getting a job somewhere that gives you job security, people who get laid off all the time. It's like, well, there's your job security. Um, Job security is when you have your own business, right? When you can actually control your own narrative, control your own life. But job security, because then you get medical and you get all the things that they give you, and then you have a job and good. You retire and you're good, you know. But as you're chasing that, you're really starting to focus a lot on what people think. It's a I think it's I mean, I've fallen into it. Everybody falls into it where, you really want to not necessarily impress, but you want to do things that are going to make other people think, wow, they're doing well. Even though you're not, or even though you're struggling, or even though you hate your current situation, right? You're still wanting to project that you're actually happy because you want people to think that, even if you're not. And I think that that's the biggest BS ever. I mean, it's such a lie to yourself and to everyone, especially to yourself, um, that it becomes very, very sad. And and you become pretty good at actually seeing when someone is not really doing as well or as happy. Or I'm pretty transparent, so if things are going bad for me, I'm just, this is what's happening right now. We we have things happening in our family right now that's great. Some things that are kind of struggling with, we're struggling with certain things. And we're making some major changes in our lives very soon, and I'll be talking more about that in the future. But um, there's a lot of openness in our worlds, because I realize that the people that really matter are the people that are going to support whatever decision I make and whoever I am. And those that are going to judge me based on either my views or my values or my position, they really are not worth my time, right? That's the more common thing to say, right? But what are the logistics to that? What are the actual things that entails? And this, what I'm going to read today, really will give you um, these reasons why it's just not a good idea to really care what anybody thinks. And this is something that's very powerful if you can really get there, not just say I don't care what people think, but really, really get there where you're really waking up in the morning and doing what you want to do, and taking responsibility for everything, but on your own terms. And whatever anybody says, you're there with a quick response, I don't care, or some response that will put them, understand that it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter what you think, right? Um, and that's a really powerful place to be when you can get there. And I can't say that I'm there. I'm definitely not there yet. I'm as close as I've ever been, that's for sure. And I'm getting closer and closer to being really, really just more me. Um, and who knows how long it's going to take. You know, I certainly am not going to listen to a few people on social media or friends or acquaintances. I shouldn't even say friends, acquaintances of people that make their little 2 cent comment on posts, on my post, on my friend's post, or anybody else's post. Even if I agree with what they're saying to someone else, if they're going and they're kind of ripping them a new one and not really being too nice or kind to them, even if I agree with them, they shouldn't do that to other person either. That's also something I look at as well. So let's just get started here. I'm going to read these. These are very short things, so I'll read them and then we'll discuss it. Um, so it starts off again. This is called Seven Reasons to Stop Caring What Other People Think, and it's from Inc.com. Which sometimes I do get articles from Inc.com a lot, and some of it is pretty good actually. So you can check that out at Inc.com. Um, uh, and this was written by a guy named Rate Power. Rate Power. I think that's his name, or maybe that's just made up name. It's like a superhero name. Anyway, Consider these 7 reasons why you should stop caring what people think as a motivation to improve your life and boost your happiness. Number 1, you have to look in the mirror. So, one reason, he goes on to say, I'm just going to read the thing and then we'll talk about it. So, number 1, you have to look in the mirror. One reason you should stop caring what people think about you is because no one else is your judge. Whether you are a business owner or entrepreneur, you define your ethics and values. So at the end of the day, you sleep with yourself, you wake up with yourself, right? Like the Billy Joel song says, right? It's all the same, and you still wake up with yourself, right? No matter what people say, no matter what people do, no matter what the judgment is, you are always going to have to look in that mirror and look at yourself, and you have to confront your own destiny, and you have to confront your own decisions, and you have to confront the person that you are, whether you are lying to yourself that you are that. You yourself know that you are not that, and that you are something else, that you are better. If you're actually taking other people's advice, or and I shouldn't say advice, because advice you can take, but if you're caring about what other people think to the degree that it's affecting your everyday routine, when you look in the mirror, that's when it's going to smack you in the face, because that's painful. That's painful. And if you're shaving, and I've done that, I'm shaving and I'm like, who is this guy I'm shaving? I don't even know this guy anymore. This guy is doing things that, in the old days I was doing things that I wasn't happy doing. I was like, why am I shaving to take a crowded train in New York City to go to a place where all the people there, where 90% of them, I've had jobs where they were just filled with a lot of really nasty people. The businesses all failed one by one. All those people, they lost their businesses. It's unbelievable. And I remember thinking, why am I going to this place with these people that I do not like? And I'm going to spend 8 hours, 8 hours if I'm lucky. I could spend 10 hours in some of these jobs, surrounded by people that I do not like. Why am I doing that? And looking in the mirror and thinking, dear heaven, why am I doing this? Because I'm doing it because I want other people to be impressed that I'm working and that I have a steady income and that I'm actually responsible, and this was even before we had kids. So you think about how insane we get doing these things. But at the end of the day, you have to look at yourself and you have to confront yourself. You're your own, you can be your own best friend or worst enemy. you know Number 2, other people don't know you. That's a really big point. It does not pay to care too much about other people's opinions of you, because no one truly knows you. Spend time every day getting to know yourself. Think about what matters most to you. Reflect on your history and how you have grown or evolved as a person. So that's really important, because nobody really knows you, right? They just know this outside shell of stuff that you're putting out. And they don't really know what you love and what you really think of on a day-to-day basis, and they don't know what matters to you, what really matters to you. um, so that's important. Also, when he says here about reflecting about history, so know where you were to where you are. I talk about this all the time. I just mentioned it to my wife yesterday. It's like, know where we were, whatever it was, a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, to where we currently are now. We are better. We are in a better place. We're moving more towards being free and having the freedoms that we want. We're every day we move closer to that, as long as we don't let these outside things judge us and make us feel like we have to live up to these judgments. Number 3, ugh, your creativity overflows. No one can hold you back when it comes to your imagination and creativity. Also, only you know what inspires you and what drives you. So that's your creativity really overflows when you're not caring what other people think. You're able to really think with your actual thoughts, and you're not thinking on top of a table of judgment that you have to kind of pick and choose what you have to actually put out and think about based on what people are thinking about you, or telling you, or trying to instill into your universe, right? And your creativity just really overflows. And I remember talking to Pamela, my wife, about this, how things kind of opened up, creativity kind of opened up in me more when I started kind of moving away from people that were just not good for my life. Maybe they weren't toxic, and maybe they weren't bad people, but their drive was different. Their intentions were different. Their purpose was different. And you have to move away from that. You have to kind of, because it slows you down, right? It's sluggish. It's like you're trying to go here and you have this added weight. Number four, you define success with your goals. Spend time writing down your goals. I talk about that a lot, right? So you are more aware of what you want in life and with your business. It doesn't matter if someone else thinks you should go a certain direction with your work, since you know the path you are on. I always talk about this, right? I always have my little book right here, my book. I write all my little notes in there. I have all the things and even my thoughts, ideas, anything that's creative, I write in there just so I can see them and I can really understand what they are and put them into the physical universe with my hand, my physical hand, write them down and really duplicate them, really important. Define your goals, or define success. You define success with your goals. Number five, other people have baggage. Tell me about it. Other people project their issues on you because they are not aware about who they are and where they have been. If you worry what others think, you are wasting time because they could be criticizing you for something they regret. So that's a lot of times people actually are putting on you what they feel for themselves, right? They like I get that sometimes when people say, you're working too hard, or you're doing too much, or slow down, you're gonna burn out. And I always feel that that's a reflection of them. They probably are not doing as much as they should be doing, and maybe they feel bad about it, and they think, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's if you go to work and you start doing really a lot of your jobs, and my mother told me a story back in the day when she was working. That she would work. She was working in this office where you had to do these reports or whatever, and people generally would do like three of them per day. That was like the average that people would do. And she went in one day and she did 11. She did 11 of these reports because she just was active and she was just producing. And people came to her and goes, whoa, 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 don't do so many because then it's going to make us look like we're not doing, like we can do more, you know? I remember her telling me that, and I thought that just stuck with me. I was a kid, I was very young, but I remember that stuck with me thinking production is really just sometimes people don't want you to produce that high because they're not able to produce that high themselves, or they don't want to produce that high themselves because it takes a lot of work to do when you're producing at a high level where you want to expand your dynamics, right? So that's that one. Number six, you control your feelings. uh, Contrary to popular belief, people can't make you feel a certain way about yourself. You decide how to respond to what others say. Choose to turn a negative into a positive or an opportunity to learn or grow. So that's a very popular one that we hear a lot, right? It's not the things that people tell you, it's how you respond to those things that really matter, right? Because people are going to say things all the time, right? We know that, especially now from social media. People sit there in their underwear eating ho-hos and donuts, just being like, this is an outrage, I'm going to put this person in their place. I don't even, this is how I think in my head how they are in their house. I'm going to actually take care of them and make sure that they are on the right track to where I am. We're on the same path. And just know that you're not on their path, and that that person is uh, hurting right now. They're they're probably in some physical pain as well as mentally and spiritually, emotionally, right? A lot of different types of pains that a person might be going through, um, and you do have to sympathize with that. I'm not going to go after these people viciously. They have their pains. They want to go out there and do their thing. I grant them that opportunity for them to do that. But how I respond to them, I'm certainly not going to listen. it's pointless for them to even come in my direction. But they have the right to do that. Um, unless they're mean. If they're mean, I just block them or something because I don't like that either. So number seven, the final one here is you can't read minds. It is foolish to care what other people think because you don't actually know what they believe. Many people lie or deceive others because they don't know who they are. I just mentioned something like that, right? Without the ability to read into other people's mind, you don't really know what they believe. Once you know a person's true motivations, you can make better decisions. Only you can make you happy. Don't count on the boss or a supervisor to validate how you feel about yourself and your work. You have to take steps to find validation from within if you want to truly be happy and successful. And that's number seven. And that's just a little summation at the end there. So yeah, at the end of the day, it is only you that can make yourself happy, right? Such a simple thing to say. Only you can make it sounds like the bear, Smokey the Bear, right? Only you can prevent forest fires. Only you. Wait, what? Me? I don't have time right now. I'm busy. But yeah, only you can actually make yourself happy, right? And it is by taking those things that are in your environment, those people that you've allowed to be in your environment, the people that walk into your room or into your office or into your home, and you feel like, oh God, I don't feel good. I don't like when, if you feel that, you might even be suppressing that, but you just don't feel good. You have to move out of that environment. You have to find ways to either do two things. You have to handle that or you have to disconnect. You have only two options, right? There's no living with the pain. There's no living with the deceit. There's no living with the invalidation on a daily basis. You can't live in that environment. You have to make that decision. There's only two of them. You handle it by handling it in the home, by handling the person, handling your friend, or you disconnect and you say, listen, I know we were friends for 30 years, but we've grown different. We're on different paths. I really don't want to hang out with you much anymore. Maybe we can have coffee once in a while. This is going to flip them out anyway, well, no matter what you say, so you have to take those steps. You can't rely on the person that you work for to make you feel good about your life. You can't even about your spouse or your partner, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. They're not gonna make it's not their job to make you happy. It really isn't. It's your job to make yourself the person that you want to be, so then you can be of value to other people. And that's what makes a connection. If you actually haven't handled your own demons first, then you're not going to be a good husband. You're not going to be a good wife. You're not going to be a good friend. You're not going to be a good employee either. You're going to be toxic to other people and not even knowing it. You're a good person inside. But because you haven't really handled your own situation, you're not going to be of value to other people. And that's where the little comments come out. That's where it becomes pretty sad. So, anyway, I hope you found value to these. I thought these were really good. I might do something in the future on these again. Maybe in a year, I'll revisit some of these, or maybe earlier. I'll definitely keep these into my folder. I have a 7 a.m. folder, just so everybody knows I'm somewhat organized here in my craziness. You see, 7 a.m. So I put some of my shows in there, my ideas, and I go back to them every once in a while. Um, but that's how I do these 5 days a week, right? I think I've done almost 70 of these shows. So, all right, folks, I want to thank you all for taking the time to spend this morning with me and listening to this content. And I hope that it helps you, and I hope you can share this. Like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're watching this. Please share this with other people. I appreciate the shares. It really helps the shares because other people get to see it, and then Facebook and Instagram, not Instagram, Facebook and YouTube and Twitch, they all like that and they all lift you up a little bit and get a little bit more views and the content can get out. So any share, likes, and subscribe. I really appreciate it very much. Thank you all. I will see you tomorrow morning. Take care of yourselves. Do the things that you love. Make today great. And I will see you tomorrow. And as always,